Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. There's so much content I've watched in 2018 and I thought, oh God, this is another curse of 21st century entertainment. This is the curse of 2018 film and TV. It was a very, very different experience with Black Mirror, Bandersnatch. Now, I'm not going to pretend I've watched every single season and every single episode of Black Mirror because I hadn't. I've watched bits and pieces and I've enjoyed what I've seen. But really, Black Mirror is the best thing, whether you're talking about cinema or television. It's so effective and it's so overwhelming. And that's a weird experience for nowadays because most of the stuff I watch nowadays is so underwhelming. Now, I never knew we were going to get a Black Mirror feature-length kind of movie on Netflix, especially so close after Christmas is just finished. But people were hyping it up on Twitter. It took me over the edge when they said it will be an interactive kind of experience. So I thought, well, I'm going to watch it in the evening. Black Mirror is best to watch in the evening. It has that kind of darker, ghoulish effect, if you want. So I did that. So Black Mirror Bandersnatch is about a very young 19-year-old computer programmer called Stefan who's decided to adapt a kind of adventure game where you have options. So basically the game he's creating is like what we're watching. We have interactive options and so will the players on his Bandersnatch game he's developing. Now I think it's based on a book, I think, from what we were seeing. Don't quote me on that. Now, if you want to talk about the interactive features, I'm not quite sure what we were changing within the choices we had to make. Like at first we had a choice out of like if he eats Frosties or something else. I chose Frosties. I will confess when it came to the moment, and this is a spoiler review, so don't get mad. But when I had the choice whether to back away or kill the father, I killed the father. My original choice, I had bury the dad or chop the dad up. I chopped the dad up. That says a lot about me, right? I ain't gonna lie. I got something out of that. But then when I went back, I chose bury the dad because the thing is, right, this is the thing. It was very clever in the sense of, yes, it gave you the best of both worlds. And this is what this generation wants. This generation doesn't want to deal with consequences. So what they did very cleverly is after you go on your path, after you make all these decisions from the choices you made with these interactive kind of situations, they take you back and you can make the other choices. So you can see what would have happened. So I think in the end, at first, when the kid's looking for the little rabbit or whatever it is, I tell the mum to go away and do one, right? And she dies. So ultimately, how I end my experience is that I choose for him to go with the mum on the train. But it's a bit weird. So why did he think if he didn't tell his mum to go away, she wouldn't be dead? It doesn't make sense, does it? Ultimately, they both died, right? That's what happens. And that's why when we get past the credits again, he just dies suddenly in his psychiatrist's room. But I tell you what, one of the great experiences of this feature-length Black Mirror episode was that random kind of martial arts fight between Stefan and the psychiatrist, because the psychiatrist seemed so morbid and bland, didn't she? And all of a sudden they're having this fight. It was awesome. But then when you go back and take the other option of jumping out the window, you don't get to jump out the window. You find out he's been filming and it's part of the studio setup, but he actually thinks he's Stefan. So that's a brilliant, shocking moment. So some options you choose for them to do, they don't actually do. Like throwing the tea on the computer. He never actually throws the tea on the computer when you select that option. There's a brilliant moment, right? When you can choose pack or Netflix. So what happens is you click Netflix, right? And all of a sudden, his computer, which I think is a Spectrum, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. But by the way, I was a Commodore 64 man growing up and proud of it. So let's have those heated debates. What was better? The Spectrum 48K or Commodore 64 anyway, right? So you click onto Netflix, right? So all of a sudden the computer starts saying, you're being controlled by me on here on Netflix. So Stefan goes, what is Netflix? Oh, this is an entertainment platform from the 21st century. But then you see Stefan going, what the hell? Because you imagine yourself, imagine, right, that was you. I mean, I'm 46. I grew up in the 80s. So, you know what I mean? It was awesome. So I just think it was such a surreal experience. It was like being on drugs without actually being on drugs. As I say, one of the best experiences with any form of entertainment I've ever seen. And it's no surprise, it's Netflix, which is a groundbreaking arena. They keep on trying to go to top themselves, if you like. And what we saw with Black Mirror Bandersnatch was amazing. Now, I forgot the actor's name, but you know the Chronicle of Narnia films. There's a third film, The Dawn Treader, I think, and there's a very young, annoying boy in it. And that actor played, was it Colin, the other computer programmer, the legendary computer programmer? And there's an option who jumps off. So what happens is, right, they've both taken acid, right? So basically, this computer programmer is trying to help Stefan, right? Because Stefan's gone mad. He can't finish the game, right, for the company, right? So he's under pressure. He's got to finish it by a certain date in September. So he goes to this, legendary computer programmer, and they take acid together. And they go on the balcony, and this guy goes, one of us is going to jump, right? So you can literally decide which one jumps. So at first I go for Stefan. Now, the reason I went for Stefan, it might be you may think, why did you choose Stefan? That ends the story. But I chose Stefan because this guy was talking about multiverses. I thought, surely if he jumps, he's going to survive or he'll come back again. So that didn't work out. So they took me back. So I killed off Colin. I'm not sure if that's his name, by the way. And then he dies. And then his girlfriend comes out. Oh, my God. Awesome, right? And this takes the story down a totally different direction. And this is what I love about adventure gaming, about options, interactive options. As I say, this will become a thing. And people saying that this is what, interactive TV and film won't become a thing. It will. It will happen in your cinemas. You will be given a pad. One day, soon, the technology will be there in your cinemas because less and less people are going to watch films in cinemas. Cinemas are closing down all the time, right? So how do you bring interest back? Well, we've got the way you can watch films now with, with 3D and other platforms as well, right? So that brought an interest for a time. But I think they tried sensory cinemas, which didn't work at all. So this makes sense. This is a 10 out of 10 episode of Black Mirror because look, I've tried writing adventure stories before, giving your kind of reader the option, and it's so difficult. I admit it, I'm a writer, and I've never ever been able to nail it. It's a very difficult thing to do, especially in live action, because not only do you have to film the actual scenes and the story, the actors have to have long-range reactions while people are choosing their option. What I loved about the interactive aspect of it, as you've got the choice, there's like a countdown line going. And my joypad on my PS4 was actually vibrating. So the pressure for you to make this very important decision was on you. And you feel it with the vibrate, with the timeline going. The whole thing was fucking amazing. And I thought it was brilliant. And if you haven't seen Black Mirror Bandersnatch yet, I suggest you go and watch it. I think you'll have a great experience with it. But sometimes your decisions will lead you for this episode to go longer than you think it would have gone. I think my experience went longer for 90 minutes. Maybe I'm wrong. But I tell you what, it was awesome. I came out of it and I was affected by the story and what I saw. It was so good. As I say, not only was the story and the acting and the directing as good as the interactive kind of experience. I loved the whole thing, and I'd love to do it again. And I'm going to rewatch that so many times just to see if I can get if it takes me to another place. I don't think it personally will, but it's worth a try, I think. But I think, well done everyone involved because, to do this and to pull this off, and people have been trying to pull off live action adventure storytelling for a very, very long time. It's been in books for years, and I've tried it out on my nephews and nieces as well. They love it. This is a thing that's going to catch on in live action TV and cinema. I'm telling you, you don't have to believe me. People are resistant to change, but absolutely, Black Mirror Bandersnatch is a freaking amazing experience. You won't even have to do drugs for one whole night.